What's going on, guys? Car Review Guys here. My name is AJ, and today and this week we are with the 2023 Mazda CX50. And my first impressions is it's actually a really cool SUV, and I'm not an SUV guy. I'm an exotic car owner, and this thing, I'm telling you, is pretty sweet. Without further ado, let's jump right on into this review. Let's roll. So behind us this week, we have a 2023 Mazda CX50. You will note this is definitely a higher trim model, aka the highest they offer, which is the Premium Turbo Plus. So this car has roughly 237 horsepower with a 2.5 liter turbocharged engine. And I'm here to tell you, I disagree with many other reviews of this vehicle. I think this motor has plenty of power behind it for what this SUV is. 0 to 60 is in around 6.7 seconds. Again, it's an all-wheel drive SUV. There's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. So let's do a quick walk around on the exterior of this vehicle to point out some of the features. This vehicle does have LED headlamps, as you can see right there, which are super nice. And then down here, you do have your turn signals, which do fade in and out. Moving on around, you do have some pretty good sized tires for this vehicle for sure. It has 245, 45, 20s. So 245 in width and again 20-inch wheel. It actually looks really good on this vehicle, in my opinion. Moving on around, we do have keyless entry. You just touch in here to get inside, or to lock it there. You can see that little tiny shape difference right there, and that is how you lock the vehicle. Or you can set it to where you just walk away from the vehicle and it will automatically lock. That is a setting within the infotainment. Looking at a side profile, you will note on this vehicle that there are some pretty big plastics going around it. And you know, I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of that, but the reason they did that is because this vehicle is actually an inch taller for ground clearance, but the overall height of the vehicle is an inch less than the standard CX-5, which many of you are probably more familiar with in this vehicle. The point of this vehicle was to be more of an off-road capable vehicle. So it's made to look more rugged, and you can see that it's more squared off in the wheel arches, and they are actually a little bit wider, and I will point that out right here. You can kind of see the angle as to which they play. It's pretty nice. Moving around to the back, I think it looks really good, just my personal opinion. You can form your own. I think that looks really nice. It's simplistic, in my opinion, and I think that actually is pretty nice. The only thing that I would maybe complain about, fake vents. I don't love fake vents, but I get it because from here, it looks pretty real. So, and I mean, it makes it look more wide, because if you come down this angle here, it looks pretty wide. So that's kind of what they were going for, just to be more aggressive all the way around. All right, and while we are in the rear, we might as well talk about the lift gate. It is a power lift gate. There is a button underneath here, pretty standard for many vehicles. You just touch it. And voila, your hatch is open. While we're talking about the hatch on the rear here, we do have extra cutouts on both sides, as you can see there. And I think the point of that is actually to, you know, fit some golf clubs in there, which, don't blame them. That's a very common thing for many people, and that literally will fit golf clubs perfectly. But if you happen to need more space, it's pretty nice, because all you have to do is just flip this and your seat folds down. You can do the same thing on the other side. Now, to close, my goodness, you just come right up here. You can see the buttons there, and you just simply press it. Alrighty, and that is pretty much going to wrap up the exterior. Next, we have to jump on into the interior, talk about some of the quick features. We can't talk about every single one of them from an infotainment aspect, because otherwise this video would be 35 minutes long. And literally 1% of you would ever watch that, because it's too much detail. So without further ado, let's jump in on the inside. But before we jump in there, we got to do a quick cinematic. Let's roll. right, and opening up the door here, you will see it is a two-tone interior. It is a, I believe terracotta is the technical name, but if you want to be real simple, it's brown and black with some brown stitching along here, which is nice. All this is nice soft touch leather. Even up here, it's not leather, but it is soft touch, which is nice. And then moving down, you have pretty standard window switches, but I love how Mazda does the interior. You have this little bit of chrome. It just feels so special to have something like that opposed to just bland buttons. I absolutely love that. And moving down to the seat here, as you can expect on this trim level, it does have power seats. Everything you would expect with power, it has it. Speaking of seats, right here is your memory setting for your seats 1 and 2. This is your rear hatch to open and close. And then up here you have several buttons, one of which is your iStop. That is basically your auto stop on and off. This vehicle, you have to press that in order to make it do it, which is super nice. Usually from the manufacturer, it's the opposite way around. I love that feature. Up on the steering wheel, left-hand side, you can see back here that it does have paddle shifters. They are really small, one on each side, obviously, plus minus. And then you do have your all of your infotainment stuff here for your track, volume, you have phone call, your voice command, and then obviously info. Moving to the right side, this is your adaptive cruise control on the left of the right side. And then you have your set right there. And then you have adaptive cruise control, and then obviously cruise control on or off right there. And over here in the middle, you have many different options. You have cooled seats, heated seats, and obviously a heated steering wheel, and that is for both sides for the seats. Moving up is your dual zone climate, which is always nice to have in a vehicle. And then up here you have your 10.25-inch display. It is a little awkward because it's further back. Be careful not to set too many things here because it does angle down and it will smack the screen. And speaking of the nice 10.25-inch display, working our way down from that, this is how you control it unless you're going to use your wireless Android or Apple CarPlay. If you use those, this screen is compatible to use as a touchscreen, only when stopped. However, otherwise, it is not a touchscreen. You have to use Mazda's typical buttons, spins, clicks, all down here whenever you operate it, which actually, I don't mind it now that I'm getting used to it, but it is a learning curve. Let's put it that way. Okay, the center console has a pretty cool design. It is split in half, as you can see there. That is because if your elbow is here and whoever's next to you needs to get in there, you can open up just one side if you want, or just the other side. It's completely up to you, whatever you want to do. The seats have a pretty nice design as well. Everything is soft touch in here. This is piano black over here, which is obviously hard touch, but where your knee actually pushes right here, not bad, pretty soft touch. Soft touch, as you can see, soft touch up here. And then the seats have a really nice design. I love the design in the seats, the line in the center, super nice. I wanted to take a very quick second to show you guys the interior at night and what it looks like at night. So that is your gauge cluster. Obviously it's red right now because it's in sport mode. I did that just because, I don't know, it looks cool at night. Moving up top, you can see the heads-up display out there, barely. Hopefully you can see that. Come on over, this is your middle infotainment and AC/heat related areas. Moving down to the center console area. This is all of your infotainment controls right here. And let me turn the LED lights on up here. So that's what they look like all lit up. And it is very bright in here now, as you can see, because let me turn this off. That's how dark it is. So, the lights work very well. The whole cabin is all lit up. Nice having LED lights in this thing, for sure. Finishing up with the night view portion, I wanted to go over the cameras really quick. You can see that there's a 360 camera, and then right now I'm in reverse. That is behind me, the big picture. Now, if I go in reverse, I'll back up just a little bit just to show you here. All right, so now let's go into drive. That camera automatically switches to where it's right in front of me. I'm pulling into my house here. So now you can tell exactly where your front end is. So that way you don't hit anything. And you can even hear the sensors getting louder. And that's what it looks like right there. The views are exceptional at night. That is very, very... All right, before we step in the back seat, really quick, it also has a wireless phone charger in a really good spot. This is looking back towards the back seat. It's right down here. There's a little indicator right there. There's also an indicator up on this screen right there. You can see it's gray, but if I place my phone down here and the wireless charger, you should see it go green. There you go. Just as a reference point, before we step into the back seat, I am 5'9", for those of you that don't know, and this is my kind of clearance I have, roughly 6 inches. And because the wheel is telescopic, you can change it in and out by a good bit here. Let me see if I can show it or not. That's all the way out, and that's all the way in. So hopefully you can see that. I'll do it from 2 angles, and then up and down. So I bring it all the way out pretty much, and almost all the way down. And the lever is underneath right here in order to change that. All right, let's step into the back seat really quick so you guys can take a look as to what kind of space there is back here. And you can kind of see right where my seat is right now. That's the kind of legroom that you're gonna have. So let me get my tripod out of the way for you guys. And let's step on in here. So first off, let's put it on my head like this so I can kind of show you the headroom, because this is one thing I see a lot of people don't really show. They're just already sitting in the car, and I don't know, I feel like it's more practical getting in and out. So let me show you the best I can. So stepping up in, coming down, I've got about 3-4 inches of headspace, and again, I'm 5'9". So coming back in here, sorry, it is a little dark, but this is the space you're working with. I have roughly, I would say 6 inches of leg space right there without any issues. So yeah, about 6 inches of leg space right there. You do have heated seats back here and 2 USB charging ports. And then of course, you do have a center little cup holder there. And I'm gonna tell you, the leather in Mazda, it's so soft touch. It's plush. I like it. All right, guys, without further ado, I think we need to get this bad boy out onto the road and see what she drives like. Hey, let's roll. Alrighty, guys, let's get this thing out on the road. And as we're backing out of the driveway here, I just wanted to bring up a few things in case I potentially missed it. One thing on the interior, it has Bose speakers, and the Bose speakers are a 12 speaker system. They're very good, in my humble opinion. I'm not a huge sound guy, so be fair warned, I'm not. But out of all of the cars that I drive, this is probably top 5. And for those of you that don't know, I drive a lot of cars. So, very good speakers in this car. Very happy with how they sound. I also have to note, it is like 112 degrees or something like that here in Arizona today. It is hot. Hopefully the AC is not like too loud. I literally have it set at 78 degrees right now, just to like maintain, just to like bring the sweat down a little bit, because I'm sweating so bad, it's so hot. But we have come to the first portion. We need to do a 0 to 60 on this 2023 Mazda CX-50 Turbo Premium Plus. All right, we got it in sport mode. Put it in drive. In 3, 2, 1, go. To the floor, to the moon, let's roll. I disagree with so many YouTubers, I really do. I've seen so many people that have claimed this vehicle is not fast enough for what kind of vehicle this is. I'm telling you, this thing has plenty of get up. This is a small SUV. Again, I'm an Audi R8 and C7 Z06 owner. I know what fast is. I really do. This thing, for what it is very quick, no complaints, just saying. So one of the first things I notice, now that I'm over my rant on this vehicle, it does have plenty of power for what this vehicle is, okay? I'm just gonna say that again, I'm gonna leave it alone. All right, so one of the first things I notice is on the heads-up display, and I'll try to show you here in just a second. It's kind of neat. It's on the heads-up display and down on the main screen. Whenever you approach a stop sign, it actually shows the stop sign indicator, which is unique. I've never seen that before. It's kind of cool, but yeah, so let me try to show you guys right here real quick. The one thing about all-wheel drive that's super nice that people don't understand that I've never experienced it, I mean, like when you're in a pinch and there's like cars coming both ways and you have enough power, like you don't have to worry about wheel spin or any of that. You literally just smack it, you go, and like you're out of people's way. I mean, I love all-wheel drive. It's so nice. So nice. Absolutely love all-wheel drive. I'm so happy that that's standard on this Turbo Premium Plus, because it just allows people to not like try to save a couple dollars and get a front-wheel drive version, because to me, that would really ruin the experience of this vehicle. I absolutely love the all-wheel drive. This thing gets 22 city, 29 highway. For a small SUV, and I'd probably even say it's maybe even like a mid-size SUV, there's nothing wrong with that. The seats are very comfortable, okay? The only complaint on the interior you could say is like the control knob that you guys saw and that I've talked about. I mean, I think it's a little quirky. Like, I think you should be able to use the touchscreen, but I kind of understand why Mazda, you know, Mazda basically states that a touchscreen is more distracting. One could argue that it's more distracting trying to figure out how to use the dial knob that's not in your line of sight. I don't know. I've seen other reviewers and other people that have complained about the dial knob, that it is more distracting. But that's Mazda's rationale, and you know what? Once you get used to it, I don't mind it at all. It doesn't bother me, but it's a little quirky. All right, moving on into the visibility in this vehicle. So this vehicle is, because the top is like a little bit more slender than like the CX-5, you can feel that slightly, but there's still plenty of headroom. I'm 5'9", and I probably have 5 inches there, and my seat's not all the way down. I have it raised up probably an inch, inch and a half, somewhere in there. So the glass, though, you can feel is like, you know, shorter, but it's not as if it's like too short. So you can see out of it just fine. This pillar's kind of wide, but you have blind spot monitoring, so that obviously helps. And the mirrors, to me, are nice and big, and even the rear window is good, so I don't really have any issues with blind spots. Okay, let's talk about interior noise while you're driving down the road. Interior noise is actually pretty quiet. Like, the only thing that I hear right now, for example, I'm doing 50 miles an hour. The only thing I hear is a little bit of tire noise, and that's because I'm on a really rough textured road. If it wasn't for this road, I don't even think I would hear that. Wind noise, I hear none. Zero. None. Don't hear it. Even vehicles pass me, listen. Let me know if you heard that. I literally pretty much can't hear that. So that's actually really good. Let's talk about two things. One, let's talk about the seats again on this car. And what I mean by that is the cooling seats. Okay, I know this sounds like I'm just like the biggest fan of this car, and I actually really do like it genuinely. And I'm not meaning to sound that way. I would come up with more negatives, like if I could freaking find them, but I just haven't. The cooling seats on this car are like one of the best cooling seats I've ever felt in my life. Now, previous to this, out of all vehicles I've driven, was the Ford Explorer. I don't know why the reason, but those, like, this thing literally moves my shirt and I can feel my shorts actually moving. That's how good the cooled seat / ventilated seat is in this car. The steering on this vehicle is a little heavy. Okay, now, two things to that. One, it's very, very nice in the sense of this car feels so stable and planted. On the other hand, it would be nice if you could maybe switch it to like comfort mode, which they don't offer. They have normal, sport, and off-road. Those are the three. That's all you get in this one. So they could maybe improve that with a comfort, and then the comfort, the steering could be like lighter to where it's almost like a pinky, just barely, it's super easy to move. So like that could improve, I guess. I don't have an issue with it. Again, I drive, like I have an Audi R8, and my Audi R8 has super heavy steering, and this is nowhere near like that. Along with the steering, this car does have lane keep assist, but in this vehicle, the 2023, unless they eventually update this to where it's changed, as of right now, it only works if you're doing 40 miles an hour and below. That's my understanding. If that's updated, if that's changed, and you guys know better than me, please comment below. But that, from everything I've read, that is what is the case. Okay, so I've put, off camera, I put about 50 miles on this vehicle, just driving it to my house. which was majority freeway, and then I've been driving around town, country back roads. They're all set at like 50 to 55 miles an hour, somewhere in there. And I'm averaging 26 and a half MPG. That's pretty good. I don't have any complaints with almost 27 miles to the gallon between, you know, city, country, highway, all that mixed. And it's all-wheel drive. You guys have to remember that. It's all-wheel drive SUV, okay? You know, people think they get it down the road, but that's exceptional for all-wheel drive. All right, guys, I think it's just about time we wrap up this review. I think we've covered almost every aspect of this vehicle. In the next videos, you are going to see 5 things they could improve upon, which I'm gonna have a tough one on that one on this vehicle, but I think I can come up with 5 things they can improve upon. If you can't take criticism, I don't know, I do even for my videos. So if you have something that would make my videos better without just saying like they suck, like give me something good and I'll use it, constructive criticism. So drop your comments below if there's anything you guys would like to see or something that would make this better, because I'm always trying to do better and higher quality content. And the other 2 videos you're gonna see with this vehicle most likely are gonna be the 5 things I love about this car. And last but not least, what is it like living with this car after 7 days? Because, you know, a lot of people just review cars at a dealership. Well, you don't really get the full effect of that, and I know that because I used to do that as well. And now that I get these vehicles for a full week, it really makes a difference as to your daily life. What is it like living with this car? So those are the videos that are going to be coming up in the series. And guys, please comment below any questions you may have on this vehicle. I will answer them to the best of my abilities. Even if you want to see another vehicle, please comment below what they are. I want to know, because I can try to reach out and try to get the vehicles that you guys want to see. Just like that, guys, I'm going to catch you on the next one. Peace!